You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
Folks, you are listening to America Off the Rails, now a proud member of the Conservative Commando Radio Network, right here on WNJC 1360 AM, the powerhouse of Philadelphia. Now, I have a question for you. Do you ever find yourself maybe not near a radio? Maybe you're traveling and you don't have access to the internet? Did you know that the Conservatives Commando Radio Network can now be heard on a telephone network by calling 832-999-1199 anytime, day or night? That's right. You can hear every show as it's broadcast live, even if you're not near the radio or an internet, because, everybody nowadays has a phone in their hand. But here's the good news, though. As soon as we go off the air at night on the Conservative Commando Radio Network right here on WNJC, you can listen to every show that aired for that day as many times as you want just by dialing that number. It'll be a live feature every day at 12 p.m. daily, and it'll be exclusively for the shows that run on that network. But until the next day when it goes live again, they're going to run them over and over and over again. So now you have on-demand access to the Conservative Commando Radio Network right on your phone. How cool is that? Just remember, the Conservative Commando Radio Network, where now even more newsmakers go to be heard.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? America Off the Rails has been declared a conservatives-only safe zone. Only conservatives allowed from this point forward. Any liberal, socialist, butthurt, hippie, tree huggers, please exit the facility immediately. Again, attention please. America Off the Rails is now designated as a conservative safe zone only. All butthurt, tree-hugging, hippie, free-to-be, you-and-me types exit the facility immediately. Thank you.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election.
Keep on doing what you do, Rick. You're my favorite host.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
Nobody ever proposed evil as such. Neither Hitler nor Lenin nor any other despot you can name ever came forward with a proposal that read, let's create a really oppressive and evil society. Rather, Hitler said, let's take the means necessary to restore our national pride and civic order. And Lenin said, let's take the means necessary to assure a fair distribution of the goods of the world. In short, it is your responsibility, women of the class of 2015, not just to be zealous in the pursuit of your ideals, but to be sure that your ideals are the right ones, not merely in their ends, but in their means. That is perhaps the hardest part of being a good human being. Good intentions are not enough. Being a good person begins with being a wise person. Then, when you follow your conscience, you will be heading in the right direction. Now, this can be very good or very bad advice, depending on who you think you are. Indeed, follow your star if you want to head north, and it's the North Star. But if you want to head north and it's Mars, you had better follow somebody else's star. Indeed, never compromise your principles unless, of course, your principles are Adolf Hitler's. In which case, you would be well advised to compromise them as much as you can. And indeed, to thine own self be true, depending on who you think you are. It is a belief today that seems particularly to beset modern society, that believing deeply in something, following that belief, is the most important thing a person can do. Get out there and picket, or boycott, or electioneer, or whatever. Show yourself to be a, quote, committed person. That is the fashionable phrase. I am here to tell you that it is much less important how committed you are than what you are committed to. If I had to choose, I would always take the less dynamic, indeed even the lazy person who knows what's right, rather than the zealot in the cause of error. He may move slower, but he's headed in the right direction.
Well, good afternoon, WNJC. This is Rick Robinson. I'm the host of America Off the Rails. And what you just heard there was the last known public speech for one Mr. Antonin Scalia, Supreme Court Justice, all-around pretty funny guy, if that speech was any indication, and a rather wise man. And why do we open the show talking about him? Well, I was out sick last week, so you hadn't really had a chance to hear my take on the situation with Scalia. And I have to say, a couple of interesting things have happened with that. I'm not going to put the tinfoil hat on. I have to say, I think it's a little weird that it was ruled natural causes, while at the same time, apparently, there was a pillow over his head. That seems a little iffy to me, but I've talked to a few folks that seem to think that they know a few other folks that typically like to sleep with a pillow over their face. So who am I to judge? But that's not why we brought this up. Why we brought this up is because, as you know by now, the president had decided that he wasn't going to attend the funeral. And he didn't. There was a moment when he went to visit while he was lying in state, but he did not attend the funeral. Not only did he not attend the funeral, he made a rather, well, how shall I say this without it sounding weird, a rather off-color joke, not moments, basically, after the body was interred of one Mr. Antonin Scalia, former Supreme Court Justice. Now, why do I bring this up, you might ask? Because it is an indication of a symptom that is running rampant within our country that is a major major problem. And up until a few months ago, I thought it was specifically a problem endemic within the Democratic Party. Unfortunately, I am slowly finding that this issue, this heartless, completely unresolved to stick to your principles issue and basically take any shots you can find it to cause pain or even for the win, is endemic to both sides. And this is why I bring this up. A sitting president of the United States had never before that day not attended the funeral of a Supreme Court justice. It was unheard of. This is an historic precedence. And it goes with so many other historic precedents that have been set by one Barack Hussein Obama. Not only did he not attend the funeral, but within minutes of the body being laid to rest, he's cracking jokes, making fun of this man. Now, I will tell you this, whether you agree with his politics, whether you don't, there's usually, at least in my estimation, a bit of decorum. It's no different than when Jimmy Carter announced that he had cancer. From my estimation, at least from last I heard, I think he's in some form of full remission. But there were people that came out on my side of the fence, praising God for striking him down, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And I got on Twitter and I did the same thing that I always do. There should be a time frame when pot shots are not part of the equation, especially when someone has either recently passed or made some sort of life-changing announcement. And yet no one seems to understand that anymore. Now again, why did I bring this up? Because for you guys, this is week-old information. Because it's still going on today. We are now watching the Republican Party do the same thing, the very same thing that we have laughed, pointed at, made fun of, and ridiculed the Democratic Party for the last 8 years. We saw Obama coming from a mile away, and we're like, what are you folks doing? Are you insane? Why would you vote for this guy? Nobody knows what he is, and if you listen to what he's telling you he's going to do, using words like fundamentally transform America, we're days away from changing America, nobody caught on to it because it was a cult of personality. I'm telling you, right now, today, that is all the presidential election is anymore, is a cult of personality. And if you don't believe me, look at what's going on with the Republican primary. Scott Walker, out. Probably could have been one of the best presidents in history, and he's out. Former governor for Texas, Perry, out. Now that he's out, of course, all charges have been dropped. Big surprise. Probably, again, could have been one of the best presidents in history, and he's out. We have folks that don't even belong in the race at all. Kasich, why are you still there? Go home. Go be the son of a postman. Nobody's going to hold it against you. Carson, why are you still here? You started the race as the humblest man on the stage, and now you're basically sticking it out just to stick it to somebody else. That is not what this country needs right now. It is not what this country needs right now. Even Bush, the one that everybody thought would be the one that would hang in to the end just because daddy was telling him he could be president and his brother was telling him he could be president, he gave up the ghost, folks. He went home because he knew there was no way. No way. And if we don't narrow this field, we're going to be looking at an election between Hillary and Donald Trump. Because let's face it, Bernie Sanders does not have a prayer. Everybody's been looking at it going, well, maybe, just maybe. But let's face it, the Democratic Party has it out for Bernie. Even if he had a chance to win, he doesn't anymore because they have a superdelegate system there. And anytime he gets the most votes, the superdelegates still go to Hillary. I would say the fix is in, Mr. Sanders. I'm sorry. But it looks like your party, not your party because you're an independent, which has always kind of amazed me that they allowed you to run in the Democratic primary while you're registered as an independent. But hey, whatever. Maybe that's why they decided to open up their primary to independents this year, because that way it didn't look so weird to have an independent running in their primary. But this is my point, folks. This was our year as conservatives, as true conservatives, as folks that wanted to elect someone who was going to adhere to the Constitution and fix the mess that we have found ourselves in for the last now 16 years. Let's face it, Bush 43, great guy, stood up when he needed to stand up. All around great guy. I would probably sit and talk to him for hours, but he was not the best ideal of a conservative president, especially toward the end. Things like the Patriot Act are what started waking me up to making me realize this is a bad idea. Then we had the bailouts. Look, I'm not a socialist, but I'm going to tell you something that sounds really socialist. It probably would have worked better than what we did, though. If they were going to bail out the banks, the best way to bail out the banks was to bail out the people that had the mortgages, because then they had to give the money to the banks. So the government gives you the money, but they put your bank's name on the check. So you basically have to hand it right back over to the bank, and they sign off on it. Your mortgage is paid, the bank got their money, and now all of a sudden you have disposable income. Is it a perfect solution? I'm not sure, but it would have worked a heck of a lot better than what we have right now. We were already throwing away the money anyway. So why did we bail out a bunch of banks that wound up turning around and giving the money right back to their top executives as bonuses? Obviously, they didn't need the money in the first place. So why couldn't we have done both? I mean, I have to tell you, the one thing that Bernie Sanders has said, the only thing that Bernie Sanders has said that I agree with, is his idea to take apart the big banks, to deregulate them, to make them smaller, because at this point we have way too much money in too few places. And I agree with that. As a conservative, there are ways to get that done. And it's the one thing that he says that I agree with. Free college? Not so much. It's never free. Somebody's going to have to pay for it. He doesn't want to admit that. Government-run healthcare. Very, very bad idea. Why do you think everybody else in the world used to come here when they were dying? Yeah, you get a hangnail and great. You go get it fixed, they don't charge you nothing. You need a kidney transplant? Oh, you better come to America, brother, because you on an 8-month waiting list now. Everybody knows how this stuff used to work. And yet, we're going to keep trying the same things here. Now, I've been talking to people all week that have been telling me that as far as they're concerned, if it comes down to basically a choice for them on the Democratic side between Hillary and Bernie, they'd rather vote for Bernie. And you know what their reasoning is? Because his whole 90% tax rate idea, never going to get through Congress. His whole free college idea, don't worry, Rick, it's never going to get through Congress. But at least he's not going to drag us into more wars, and at least he's not going to do this, and at least he's not going to do that. And it's just, but here's the thing, and it's the thing that I keep telling everybody. Nobody thought Obama was going to get the ACA either. And yet here we are. Nobody thought Obama was going to ram amnesty through with an executive order, and yet here we are. This is my problem. Once an administration does something, the predecessor usually does something much worse and makes it even worse. That's why Obama took the Patriot Act and put it on steroids. That's why Obama took the bailout that Bush started, that Obama took all the credit for, and put it on steroids. It's what they do. This is why I'm terrified. For multiple reasons. Right now, there is no clear path to saving this country. All signs point to this being an election between either Hillary or Trump. And as far as I'm concerned, that's like having to choose between a crap sandwich and a crap burrito. It's really not too much difference. They both suck. And I have to tell you, if we're really going to start talking seriously, this is an article from the Federalist. I'm going to read you a little bit of it. I'll take Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump, and this is written by Tom Nichols. The future of the entire conservative movement is at stake, and a Hillary Clinton victory over Donald Trump might be the only hope of saving it. Donald Trump could end up being the Republican nominee, and the idea fills many conservatives like me with despair. By conservatives, I mean actual conservatives, the people who believe in limited government, a strong national defense, American federalism, and who reject the nanny state in all of its smothering incarnations. Put another way, I mean people who are not liberals like Donald Trump. Starstruck, low-information celebrity cultists will vote for Trump under any circumstances because they don't know any better and do not care. For them, Trump is whatever they want him to be, and they will never change their minds. The rest of us, however, have a much more difficult choice to make. Will we really oppose Trump to the point of accepting any alternative, including Hillary Clinton? The answer, at least for me, and this is Tom, not me saying this, if forced into a choice between Hillary and Trump, I will prefer Hillary Clinton. The future of the entire conservative movement is at stake, and a Clinton victory over Trump might be the only hope of saving it. The Hamilton Rule. A few years ago, the Federalist publisher Ben Dominick suggested that conservatives consider dumping the Buckley Rule. The late William F. Buckley's admonition always to choose the most conservative candidate who can win. As Ben pointed out, things have changed since Buckley first issued this advice, including that the elite determination of who can win is often flawed. The Buckley Rule, for example, might have led to supporting Charlie Crist, you may shudder at will, instead of Marco Rubio, in the 2010 Florida Senate race. In its place, Ben raised the possibility of a Hamilton Rule, named after Alexander Hamilton, although both were Federalists. Hamilton despised John Adams and his courtier among his own party to the point where he was willing to lose the election of 1800. We must have an enemy at the head of the government, Hamilton said in exasperation. Let it be one whom we can oppose and for whom we are not responsible. In other words, better to lose to a true enemy whose policies you can fight and repudiate, rather than a false friend whose schemes will drag you down with him. This is a painful choice, but it also embraces realism. While protecting the possibility of recovery in the future, the need to live to fight another day is why conservatives should adopt a Hamilton Rule. God forbid the choice comes down to Hillary and Trump. Hillary Clinton is despicable, but Trump is worse. My hands almost could not type those words because I think Hillary Clinton is one of the worst human beings in American politics. She has few principles that I can discern, other than the firm conviction that she deserves the Oval Office for enabling and then defending her sexually neurotic husband. She lies as easily as the rest of us breathe. She has compromised national security through sheer laziness at best and corrupt intent at worst. If elected, she will enrich Wall Street and raid the public coffers while preaching hateful doctrines of identity politics to distract America's poor and working classes. But Trump will be worse. Morally unmoored, emotionally unstable, a crony capitalist of the worst kind. Trump will be every bit as liberal as Hillary, perhaps more so given his statements over the years. He is by reflex and instinct a New York Democrat whose formal party affiliation is negotiable, as is everything about him. He has little commitment to anything but himself and his deals, none of which will work in favor of conservatives or their priorities. His judicial appointments will likely be liberal friends from New York. His Great Wall of Mexico will never be built, and employers will go right on hiring cheap labor and outsourcing jobs, just as Trump does with his made-in-Mexico suits. His China Smoot-Hawley tariff will never be implemented. His administration, led by a vulgar, aging man-child who is firmly pro-abortion, who jokes about having sex with his daughter and brags about his wealth, will hurt the poorest and most vulnerable among us, including the unborn. All right, so I'm not going to keep reading that. You can actually find the article at thefederalist.com. Again, it's written by Mr. Thomas Nichols, and the title of the article is I'll Take Hillary Clinton Over Donald Trump. All right, but I think it actually puts into words pretty well the same things that I've been saying for several weeks when it comes to Donald Trump. Now, I have found a pretty, or what I find to be, or what I hope will be considered, a humorous way to kind of put a spin on what's been going on with Donald Trump. And we're going to play that here in just a second. I have to say, it goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. We have made fun of the Democrats now for 8 years for their steadfast and stoic support of Barack Obama, no matter what he says, what he did, or how he did it. And now, we on the other side find ourselves doing the same thing. And I think I found the reason as to why.
How stupid are the people of Iowa? How stupid are the people of the country to believe this crap? I would bomb the shit out of them. I'm telling Carly, whatever the hell her name is, Fiorina, I'm saying, will you stop cutting in? No, everybody that talks, she cuts in, cuts in. Did anybody in this audience ever go after your mother to hit her on the head with a hammer? And he goes into the bathroom for a couple of hours, and he comes out, and now he's religious.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Donald Trump, the Pied Piper of the Republican Party.
And there you have it, folks, because, 8 years of one petulant man-child could possibly never be enough. We on the right have suddenly now decided we need Barack Obama 2.0, a.k.a. the one, the only Donald Trump. Or as I like to call him, the Pied Piper of the Republican Party. That idea brought to you by a bunch of crazy folks in a little group I like to call the, what do we call that group again? Chat Room Rockstars. Yeah, that's it. On Twitter. Yeah, sorry, folks. Had a bit of a brain fart there for a moment. But anyway, so there you have it in a nutshell, folks. My thoughts on Donald Trump. And I have to tell you, I've been having this discussion over and over and over again, and I find myself in a very difficult place. But I have to be honest with you. Now, in 2012, I was the guy looking at all the people that were telling me that they could not vote for Mitt Romney and telling them that they were single-handedly destroying the country. And at the time, I believed it. I don't know if maybe they saw something in Romney that I didn't, that now I can clearly see in Trump that others now for some reason cannot, or if maybe something about me has changed. But while I was the one sitting there, basically using the approach we just talked about in the other article and saying, look, the most conservative choice has to be the one to win the nomination of the ones that are available so that we can put them against the other opponent and see if we can win the day. Problem is, folks, I do not see a difference between Hillary and Trump. I don't. Again, it's like going to a restaurant and being presented with only two choices on a menu. Crab sandwich, crab burrito. Neither one of which are going to work. And no matter which one, if it comes down to those two, no matter who wins, we lose. As conservatives, as Americans, if either one of those people are in the White House, we lose. There's no plainer way to put it. The simple fact of the matter is, we've lost our way. I mean, it literally has become a cult of personality situation. I mean, I'm not even kidding at this point. At this point, if Donald Trump or even Hillary Clinton at this point becomes the nominee, we might, or the president-elect, we might as well replace "Hail to the Chief" with this.
It rubs the lotion on its skin. It does this whenever it's told. It rubs the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again.
A census taker once tried to test me. I ate his liver with some fava beans. and a nice Chianti.
At this point, it doesn't matter which of those two wins, we lose. And that's the choice we find ourselves with today. Because we have reached the point where we have entirely too many egos trying to get into the White House. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk about this a little bit more, and then a premiere exclusive over here for WNJC. You guys haven't heard this yet. I have a new bit from Eric Williams from barbedwiresatire.com. Probably play that as soon as we get back, hopefully, so I can maybe wind down a little bit, because, you know, as of right now, I'm still a little wired up. So we'll be right back after these commercial messages. Don't go away.
Are you tired of the disregard for our Constitution? Do you still have faith in the American dream? Are you looking for sensible, smart radio? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network every weekday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 on your AM dial, or around the world on the internet at WNJCradio.com. Check out our website, CCRSnetwork.com, for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where now even more newsmakers go to be heard.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry, or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Are you tired of the disregard for our Constitution? Do you still have faith in the American dream? Are you looking for sensible, smart radio? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network every weekday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 on your AM dial, or around the world on the internet at WNJCradio.com. Check out our website, CCRSnetwork.com, for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where now even more newsmakers go to be heard.
All right, folks, welcome back to America Off the Rails right here on WNJC 1360 AM out of Philadelphia. Now, as promised, a premiere here for WNJC. This is a new bit we've put together with Mr. Eric Williams from BarbedWireSatire.com. He's been a part of the Spark Radio Network and also one of the other shows, JD and Stacy, that you can also hear every week right here on the Conservative Commando Radio Network for quite some time. And I've actually been looking for a way to get him involved with my show over here. We came up with something that I think has been pretty popular so far. Now, of course, anytime you hear anything, if you like it, whether you don't like it, if you think something needs to be changed, worked on, I'm always looking for feedback from the folks that listen, because you guys are the reason why I started all of this in the first place. So anytime you want to talk to me, it's pretty simple. You can follow me on Twitter at @AOTR_host. You can shoot me an email at rick@k98talk.org or ricky@thesparkradionetwork.com. There's also another email that will be coming soon because we are starting a blog and probably about to start consolidating a few things at a website that will be called the Spark of Liberty. When that one becomes available, our Spark of Liberty, sorry, no the. So when that one becomes available, I will give that one out to you as well, but it has not yet been put together. We're still building it behind the scenes and don't want to publish yet. Now, as promised, here is something that I like to call a day in the life of Hillary Server, and it's actually kind of done in kind of a Jimmy Fallon-esque writing into the show kind of way. So here you go.
You've got mail.
Dear Rick, please allow me to introduce myself. I've been a fan of your show for quite some time, and I know once I tell you who I am, you're going to find it really hard to believe, but I have something to ask you. I need your help. You wouldn't believe who or what I am, but I'm about to tell you anyway. I'm writing you today because I need you to understand that what I'm being told that I have done is not anything that I've done intentionally, and the news keeps talking very, very badly about me, Rick, and I need you to understand. And right now you're probably really confused, so let me go ahead and tell you who I am. I am Hillary Clinton's server. That's right. I am the thing that everyone talks so badly about in the news and says that I've been used poorly and that I've been doing things that I shouldn't do and somehow it's all my fault. But you have to understand, Rick, I work for the Clintons. I am literally a part of the Clinton machine. No pun intended. Do you understand how hard it is to be a part of that family, Rick? Do you understand the things they've made me do? The things they've made me store? Hey, there's an idea. Maybe while I'm writing you, what I'll do, because everybody talks about these emails, Rick. They talk about these emails, and I don't know. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna tell you. That's what I'll do. I'll show you. So here's some examples of the things that they've made me keep secret, Rick. And I'm tired of keeping secrets. They tell me that I'm doing the right thing, but I'm tired of them being secret, Rick. So here's one of them. And I'm just going to go ahead and give them to you now, Rick. From HDR@ClintonMail.com to Uma Abedin. Subject, that's how you do it! ! Hey, girlfriend. Phew. I'm so glad to be done with Iowa. Even if I win the election, I'm never going back to that hellhole again. Be sure to slip some extra foundation cast to Roddy Mook and Brian Fallon. They were such a big help in teaching Bernie how to steal an election. LOL, LOL, LOL. The people of Iowa better hope I don't nuke the whole state for embarrassing me like that with such a close contest. Was really hoping we wouldn't have to cheat with coin tosses, etc. until later in the campaign. By the way, that was a brilliant idea you had, having Debbie Wasserman Schultz handling all the coin flips. Ha! When are these people going to learn? It's always heads. Hillary wins. Tails. Hillary wins. That's just the way it is. On to New Hampshire. Hillary. And that's not the worst one. There's more. From hdrclinton@clintonmail.com to Roddy Mook. Subject, using Bill. I'm seeing press reports with people saying that Bill looks skinny, gaunt, and sickly at rallies. Guess I haven't noticed much because I never look at him. Also, they say his voice sounds weak. I never talked to him, so I wouldn't know about that either. Can you research illnesses that fit the description? Get back to me on this, and we'll get together with the others to see which illness might get us the most sympathy votes. This could really work for us. Thanks, Hill. I know. I mean, doesn't that just sound completely terrible? I mean, come on, Rick. These are the people that I deal with every day. And you guys wonder. I mean, you think she's bad on the news. Just wait. There's more. I've got one more for you, Rick, but we've got to make it quick. These are only some of the secrets I have locked away in my core. Maybe I'll be able to write you again, but here's the last one for now. From hdr@clintonmail.com to Rachel Maddow. Subject, debate last night. Hi, Rachel. I just wanted to drop you a quick thank you for the softballs you tossed me last night. We vaginas have to stick together, right? Ha, ha, ha. Could you believe Bernie, though, acting all outraged when I told him in no uncertain terms to stop his smear campaign against me? I am the queen of smear, and I do it better than anybody. Just ask Paula Jones. Anyway, I think we both did a great job, and the hug after the debate was a very, very nice surprise. Most of the few viewers watching last night are too stupid to pick up on you blatantly being in the tank for me anyway. By the way, you smelled fantastic. Keep up the biased work. Yours, Hill. Alright, Rick, I really do have to go. I'll try to write you again soon. And there you have it, folks. Our first installment from our very own Deep Throat, the server of Hillary Clinton. Alright, folks, so there you have it. Go ahead, write in, tell me if you like it, tell me if you hate it. The good news, or the bad news, depending on whether you liked it, is we have segment 2 of that series about ready to go. It was actually supposed to be done by now, but I was completely sick last week, so I really didn't get much work done, so I have some catching up to do. But anyway, just want to give another quick shout out to Mr. Eric Williams of barbedwiresatire.com. Now, most of the ad-lib commentary, that was me, so if you didn't like it, don't blame him. He only wrote the emails. Just being honest. Actually, I've listened to it now a few times. I didn't really like it very much at first. I think either I've gotten used to it or it's starting to grow on me. There were even some rather unintentional puns I managed to get in there that I just caught on to, and I was like, that wasn't even on purpose, but that was almost perfect. But anyway, so that being said, back to what we were talking about before the break. I mean, at this point, we are starting to wind down the show. But I still have to say, look, I don't honestly know what it is I'm going to do, probably until the minute I get into the voting booth. But I have to tell you, if I have to choose between Hillary and Donald, I'm not sure there's a choice there. At least not for me. I'm not telling you that you can't vote in whichever way you decide you need to vote. I have been trying my damnedest. Yeah, I can say that. I didn't put the other word in front of it. Sorry. To make sure that I remain as civil as possible when I'm dealing with Trump supporters on the internet. The problem, though, is there is this distinct group of Trump supporters, the rabid ones, the alt-right supporters. I can't have a conversation with them. As a matter of fact, in a bit of a tongue-in-cheek way, this is kind of what the conversations that I've had on Twitter lately when confronted by alt-right folks honestly remind me of, and you may recognize this clip in a moment. If not, I'll tell you what it is when it's done.
Know what song it is, okay?
Okay.
Do it now. You go.
Boo, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay.
That's great. Now give me the record.
I don't know what it is.
Give me the record, Jimmy. Yay.
Well, I just don't know what it is. I'm awfully sorry, but...
Okay. Well, you have a good day. Boop, boop,
okay. Well, you have a good evening, too.
You do it one more time, lady. Do it one more time.
Boo, 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 yeah.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
Well, you have a good night.
Yay.
Okay.
That's great. Yay.
Alright, so for anyone who's wondering, maybe you hadn't heard that before, that is a show that used to be on Comedy Central called Crank Yankers. That was one of the central characters, one Mr. Special Ed. And his whole trick was he would call up people and talk like he was crazy and get them to do silly things. But this is exactly what it has felt like for the last several days being on Twitter when being confronted by the alt-right crowd. Because they don't know how to have an intelligent conversation. I'm not saying that to be mean. It's just the truth. When you start trying to talk to them about things that don't add up, like where is Trump going to get the money to pay for this supposed immigration plan of his, which is nothing but a ripoff of the touchback plan that was proposed long ago, that everybody said probably still wouldn't work because we're broke and we can't afford to round up all of these people. But you try to talk openly and honestly with Trump folks, and you get ridiculed, you get called names, you get blocked through social media. And I have to say, at this point, it's not even necessarily just the Trump folks, and that's part of what has me so frustrated. I actually put an article out through Twitter yesterday that was praising Ted Cruz for actually attempting to do something about the immigration problem that Donald Trump has been nothing but blustering about now for weeks. So I put out a little tweet with it, and I said, oh, look, big surprise. Ted Cruz is actually trying to do something about immigration instead of just talking tough about it. And then I put the word shocked face in asterisks to make it kind of an action phrase. I got blocked by someone who basically told me that I was an idiot because Cruz was the only one that was trying to do anything about immigration. And before I could tell them that they were absolutely right, and that's why I posted what I posted, they blocked me. We don't even know how to talk to each other anymore. How are we supposed to run a country? Does anybody remember that we're actually the ones that are supposed to be in charge, or has that just slipped everybody's minds? Because I'm thinking it slipped everybody's minds, because we don't act like the folks that run a country anymore. We have folks like Chris Rock telling us that the president and the first lady are basically the country's parents and that we should do whatever they say. That is the antithesis of everything this country stands for. And now we have an entire group of people that are hell-bent on putting Donald Trump in the White House. Now, I thought about this today, and I'm going to say this here. Maybe it'll sound, I mean, I don't know. I don't know a better way to put this. I mean, I know you guys know this because you listen. The title of the show is America Off the Rails. And yet, now we have an entire segment of America's population talking about hopping on board the Trump train. Does that seem a little odd to anyone else? That the show would have been around now for about 4 years, and exactly what I've been telling everybody is going to happen will likely happen if Donald Trump becomes president, and the people that are supporting him keep talking over and over again about how they're riding the Trump train. I don't know. The irony was not lost on me. Let me just say that. But I don't understand it anymore, folks. I really don't. I mean, look. You can like him, you can hate him, you can support him, you can vote for him, you can not vote for him. It's none of my business what it is that you're going to do. But it's the same thing that I've been saying now all of this week. If you are a legitimate Constitution-loving conservative and you think that Donald Trump is the only answer to putting this country back together, then you seriously need to do some soul-searching. Not of him, but of you. Because this man is not a conservative. He's never been a conservative. He doesn't even claim to be a conservative. As a matter of fact, most of the time when you ask him, he says most conservative ideals are pointless. Unless he's on with somebody like Sean Hannity. It's exactly what I think his name was Tom was talking about in the article. Hang on. Yes, Tom was talking about in the article. Donald Trump knows how to be who he needs to be depending upon the group that he's in front of. He's a businessman. He's a chameleon. He's going to tell you what he wants to hear. What you want to hear. He outlines every single step of everything that he's going to do in The Art of the Deal. And he's using that book basically line by line, step by step, and we are falling for it hook, line, and sinker. Look, I don't know who the next president is going to be. All I know is if the Republican Party can do no better than to put up Donald Trump, then this will be the year that I can finally say I did not leave the Republican Party. the Republican Party left me. It really is that simple. I cannot and I will not support a candidate that is no different than the Democratic alternative. If I wanted to vote for a Democrat, I'd change my party affiliation and do it myself. Donald Trump is a Democrat. Yes, he's a rich Democrat, and maybe in some ways he'll be a little bit better than Hillary as far as economy, but in the overall damage to the Republican Party and the conservative movement, it will be irreparable. There will be nothing left of the Republican Party if Donald Trump becomes the nominee. There will be nothing left of the conservative movement if Donald Trump becomes the nominee. The Tea Party will no longer exist. For God's sake, Donald Trump donated money to Mitch McConnell's campaign to stamp out the Tea Party, and now he's claiming to be a part of the Tea Party. I don't understand the logic, except for one very blatant thing. He literally is the Pied Piper of the Republican Party. He speaks, and a vast majority of the people that have wanted to win for the last 8 years hear what they need to hear, not what he actually says. If you listen to what he actually says, it's terrifying. If you listen to what he actually says, it's insane. He's going to build a wall. Okay, that's great. We've had that on the books now for a while. Nobody else has managed to do it. Not only is he going to do it, he's going to make Mexico pay for it. Great job telegraphing. The tariffs that he's imposing, do you know what those are going to do to our economy? Do you understand what it's going to do to our economy? The same guy whose suits are made in Mexico is telling us that we should put tariffs on things that come in from other countries because they do it to us. Don't understand the logic. I do not understand the mindset. I just truthfully don't, folks. I wish I could say that I did. Honestly, at this point, I wish I could basically, I don't know, maybe go to Colorado, spark up a joint, kill a few brain cells, and come back a Trump zombie. My life would be so much easier if I could just not care. And just be like, oh, yeah, we're going to win this time. Like half of the people that I know on Twitter that have basically started attacking me because I will not support Trump. I was literally the other night branded a traitor and was told that anyone who will not support Trump is a traitor to the USA. If not wanting to support someone who is, by all accounts, going to be a fascist dictator makes me a traitor to the United States of America, then please, by all means, somebody email me the list. I'll sign myself up. Look, I didn't start any of this to win friends and influence people. I didn't even start any of this with the hopes of being able to make money. What I started this to do was to make a difference. What I started this to do was to find a way to influence, if nothing else, my little circle in the world. And my little circle grows more and more every day because I keep pushing and I keep talking and I keep getting to know people and I keep pushing further and doing more and working harder. And look, even if it never changes anything, at least I will know that I have tried. And that is my parting shot to you this evening. If you feel like I do, that we are running out of time for this country, then it is time to put down the remote, it is time to get off the couch, and it is time to find a way to get involved. I don't care if you disagree with 99.9% of everything that I've just said this evening, you still need to find a way to get involved, because we have abdicated our responsibilities, and it is no more apparent right now in this election cycle just how badly we have let things get. Because the people that are supposed to be working for us, now assume they are our masters, and we have allowed them to do so. And with either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, this trend will continue and this trend will get worse. So you need to get involved. Even if you support Donald Trump, please, for the love of God, just engage. I would rather you be trying to fight and be wrong than be sitting on a couch. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to tell you you're wrong, but that's just my opinion. If you can't see Donald Trump for who he is, then I don't know how I'm ever going to be able to convince you otherwise. All right, so as this particular show winds down for the day, I do have a little bit of an announcement to make, since I wasn't able to do this last week. For any of you that are going to be in the Maryland area and will be at CPAC, those of us with the Conservative Commandos Radio Network and the Spark Radio Network will be there for the event's entirety. We will be broadcasting live from, hopefully, both a booth for ourselves and for the Conservative Commando Radio Network. So make sure that you stop by, say hi to all of us, because, again, if not for you, what we're doing here wouldn't be nearly as much fun. I myself, personally, just to be honest, am crazy enough that I would do this no matter who was listening, just because part of it on some days is my therapy, and I'm not even going to lie about that. And right now, I have to admit, I need my therapy, because the world is going crazy, politics makes no sense, and nobody wants to have rational discourse. All right, so again, as a reminder, we will be at CPAC beginning March the 2nd through the 5th, and then I will be flying home really early Sunday morning to go back to the day job. But I look forward to hopefully meeting some of you out there and getting the chance to connect with some like-minded folks, even those of you who support Trump. Although right now I'm not sure we could consider ourselves like-minded, I still would like some rational discussion as to why you think Trump is your choice. And I'm not able to find that very much. All right, folks, this has been the America Off the Rails show, and this has been live on WNJC 1360 AM out of Philadelphia. Apologies, after about an hour's worth of talking, I seem to have lost my brain cells for a moment. I'll be back with you next week, folks, live from CPAC. Don't go away.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.